Hi guys, today we're going to talk about thermal energy transfer. So get your notebook out and write down how thermal energy transfers, all our notes in our notebook. So there are three main ways thermal energy transfers. They include radiation, conduction, and convection. Radiation is the transfer of thermal energy from one material to another by electromagnetic waves. This occurs when the sun or a fire heats something. And this is the only way that thermal energy travels from the sun to earth, because remember, space is a vacuum. So it travels through electromagnetic waves to heat our surface of our earth. Conduction is the transfer of thermal energy between materials that are touching. So if you look, this is in the fire, and the conduction is when the metal pole heats up and will eventually burn your hand. If you've taken a hot pot out of or off of something and forgot to use a pot holder, that is conduction. Okay. Thermal conductors are materials through which thermal energy flows freely. So like your pots and pans, we use our conduction to flow the heat into our food. Insulators are the opposite of conduction. That is a material through which thermal energy does not flow easily, so it basically stops the flow of thermal energy through a material. And we use this as insulation in our houses. It's very important. We want to keep the heat from going out or coming in the summer to make sure our house stays at a good, comfortable temperature. Specific heat is the amount of energy required to increase the temperature of 1 kilogram of a material by 1 degree Celsius. And that's different for different materials. It's just is how much heat we need to increase something 1 degree Celsius. Thermal expansion and contraction occurs. So thermal contraction is when you decrease a volume's material when its temperature decreases. So for example, when you freeze something and it shrinks. Expansion is when you heat something up and its volume increases. So if you look at the solution in these beakers, at normal temperature or at a low temperature, it is a low volume. And as we increase the temperature, the volume increases till we increase it so much that it explodes. Examples of expansion and contraction occur a lot in the winter. So water gets in the cracks of things and then it expands when it freezes. And that's why we get cracks in sidewalks. Hot air balloons also use that hot gas that expands when it heats it up to move our balloon. And same thing, temperature changes can cause different movement in metals, like your sidewalk, same thing. It expands and contracts too, and it's no longer straight. Convection is our third type of thermal energy transfer, and this is the transfer of thermal energy by movement of particles from one part of the material to another. And this occurs in fluids like water, air, and magma. Some of you might have old radiators in your house that hot water flows through, or the same principle occurs. I have pipes in my garage floor that actually hot water runs through and heats up the floor. So that older houses have radiators with water in them, or you may have it if you have heated flooring. We have it in our garage. Convection currents are also important in our atmosphere. They cause fluids to move in a cycle, the fluid this time being air. So on Earth, there's movement between the equator and north and south of that. So where the heat rises and then as it cools, it comes down. All right, we're going to stop there on the notes today. I'll also post a video for you to watch, so make sure you watch that and then come back and mark as done. All right, I'll see you this afternoon.